and fall of the Roman Empire, Gibbon, the historian, says, the Church of Rome defended by violence the empire which it had acquired by fraud. I ain't saying this. I'm putting it so that you, good Christians, could go back and tell your good Christian ministers who keep spouting that bullshit from the pulpit where they get it from. We ain't scratched the surface yet. Just gonna give you just this is just running through the beginnings, because there's so much more to tell you. I got 3 or 4 books that I'm gonna read off to you. It's all right, they don't want to hear about it. They got one book, they're reading from a goddamn book anyway. So what makes this book the only book? They don't even know where this book came from. Do you know, you good Christians out there looking at this, to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, where you think this book came from? You think God reached down with a hand and started writing on some paper because some ass put up a piece of parchment? You really believe that crap? Then you need to be enslaved. You need to be a slave. You don't even want to use the brain that God gave you. Now, Christianity was so full of shit that they even coined a phrase for the literature. They call it pious frauds. It's all right. Pious frauds were the sanctification of ecclesiastical lies. The following are direct quotes from Christianity's founding fathers, which depict the type of theological ethics practiced by them in drafting the books that would be later used as divinely inspired of God. To begin with, Jeremiah told the priests of his time that they were liars. Just go to chapter 8, verses 8 and 9. Jeremiah told you that the priests were full of shit. The priests read that and you don't get it. Who you think they are? And we see it again in 2 Kings chapter 22 verse 8. Hilkiah himself was a scheming liar, because Hilkiah came and brought some kind of book he said just came out of nowhere, presented it to the king. The king was so taken aback he tore his clothes off and said, give this man anything he wants. The apostles themselves accused one another of being liars and blasphemers. Just read Revelations 2 verses 2 and 9. Read it, Revelations chapter 3, verse 9. It appears that the lying, scheming, and forgeries were continued by the Christian church fathers up to this day. T.W. Duane writes in a book called The Bible Myths. Now this book is extremely hard to get. The only way you're going to get it is in a photograph copy form. T.W. Duane, in his book The Bible Myths, page 434, it was a common practice among the early Christian fathers and saints to lie and deceive if their lies and deceits helped the cause of their Christ. Lactantius, Lactantius, the eminent Christian author, who from the beauty of his style of writing was called the Christian Cicero, writes, among those who seek power and gain from their religion, there will never be wanting an inclination to forge and lie for it. This is taken from Middleton's Letters from Rome, page 51. Gregory of Nazianzus, or Nazianzus, Nazianzus, Nazianzus. In writing to Jerome, now this is what Gregory, they picked up some of the letters that Gregory wrote to Jerome. He says, a little jargon is all that is necessary to impose upon the people. Our forefathers and doctors have often said not what they thought, but what circumstances and necessity dictated. Eusebius, the celebrated bishop of Caesarea and one of the architects of the Nicene fraud that became Christianity, said in his ecclesiastical history, go into your books, your ecumenical schools, and look for Eusebius of Caesarea and get his book called the Ecclesiastical Histories. Lies about Christianity came into being Of this, Eusebius Gibbon, the historian, writes, the gravest of the ecclesiastical historians, Eusebius himself, indirectly confesses that he has related only what might rebound to the glory, and that he has suppressed all that could tend to be a disgrace to his religion. Such an acknowledgement will naturally excite a suspicion that a writer who has openly violated one of the most fundamental laws of history has not paid a very strict regard to the observance of the other. And the suspicion will derive additional credit from the character of Eusebius, which was less tinctured with credulity and more practiced in the arts of courts than that of almost any of his contemporary. So what he is saying to you was, like a lawyer, he began to frame the truth. Because that's what a lawyer does. He doesn't necessarily give a damn if you kill somebody. He is about to frame the truth to get your ass off. Well, this is what Eusebius has done. The fact that he was a lawyer and the fact that he was a Christian made him doubly dangerous. And this was written from a book called Gibbon's Rome, volume 3, pages 79 and 80. Now, think about it, you good Christians, especially you scholarly Christians who think that I don't know my facts and I ain't got them straight. On what is this Christian religion based that certain information must be suppressed to save it from disgrace? Is it ever necessary to suppress truth for the good of any cause? Would the truth make men free, like John 8:32 says, actually disgrace the religious teachings of your Jesus Christ? In fact, throughout this entire seminar, we will expose the kind of work done by these early Christian fathers, who admitted that they suppressed all that they could tend to find that was disgraceful to their religion. We will see that, A, the four Gospels are false. B, the gospel stories of Jesus are only a plagiarized invention. C, that the ancient ruins of Kemet, Babylon, Sumer, Lemuria, the Maya, the Olmec, Toltecs, the Dogon, the Atlanteans had given up all their secrets and they're all now in the Vatican basements. D, the Crusades from the beginning of Christianity to the present fundamentalist resurgence was an attempt to destroy and snuff out the revealing light of truth. In the book Histoire de Manichès, volume 2, page 568, the theologian Bessoudroit says, we see in the history of Christianity, such I have related, a sort of hypocrisy that has been perhaps too common at all times. That church men not only do not say what they think, but do say the direct contrary of what they think. Philosophers in their cabinets, out of them they are content with fables, though they well know that they are fables. Nay, even more, they deliver honest men to the executioner for having uttered what they themselves know to be the truth. How many pagans and atheists have tortured and burned holy men under the pretext of heresy? Every day do hypocrites consecrate and make people adore the host or communion, though as well convinced as I am that it is nothing but a piece of bread. You Christians and Catholics out there, go up and get your communion. Y'all really believe that bullshit that that's Christ? Y'all really believe that motherfucker on the there is drinking the blood of Jesus? Y'all really believe that crap? Yet still, when you go down to buy a used car, if they were pulling the same bullshit they were in the church that they were pulling in that church, they'd be closed down by the Better Business Bureau. But what you would tend to be skeptical of with a used car salesman, you believe wholeheartedly with the priest. You suspend completely all of your common sense, all of your logic and reasoning, to believe. To believe. We some sorry asses. The theologian T. Reeves, in his Apologies of the Fathers, as quoted in Taylor's Syntagma, page 170, writes, it was a Catholic opinion among the philosophers that pious frauds were good things, and that the people ought to be imposed on in matters of religion. Thus, when institutions were founded on fraud, murder, deceit, and falsehood, then pious frauds are good things for those who depend on it for their power and profits from these institutions. Johann Lorenz von Moschayem, in his work Church History, Volume 1, page 198, writes, "It was held by the church that it was not only lawful but praiseworthy to deceive, and even to use the expedient of a lie in order to advance the cause of truth and piety." What more Orwellian bullshit can you read into that? Of this type of mentality, their own Bible has plenty to say. The law says, "Each after his own kind. Men do not gather grapes from thorns, nor figs from thistles." Matthew 7:16. Now listen carefully to me. All you Christians out there speaking the crap about, hey,